making a waste-free future happen together. Your partner for change. CalRecycle is advancing world-leading reforms to cut waste and build circular use systems for all materials. New developments and a major milestone in California's circular economy reforms for packaging and textile waste, plus more funding opportunities to turn tires and beverage containers into new products, and the proposed recycling fee for battery-embedded products soon joining the covered electronic waste recycling program. Join California's climate fight and shift to a circular use economy. CalRecycle's monthly public meeting starts now.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for CalRecycle's September 2025 public meeting. CalRecycle runs programs that reuse materials to reduce pollution from trash and landfills and in our communities. Today, we will share the latest news about California's progress on building our circular system that reuses materials instead of turning our resources into trash. Before we begin, here's a brief language access message.
Shouldn't be a barrier when it comes to protecting our air, water, and land. CalRecycle is simulcasting this meeting in both English and Spanish. Click the public meeting banner at the top of calrecycle.ca.gov for a link to our webcast in English and Spanish. If you're attending this meeting in person in Byron Scher Auditorium, we have Spanish interpretation devices available. Let our team on the left-hand side of the dais know if you need one. El idioma no debe de ser una barrera cuando se trata de proteger nuestro aire, nuestra agua y tierra. CalRecycle está transmitiendo simultáneamente esta junta pública en español e inglés. Puede encontrar el enlace en línea en español e inglés en la parte superior de nuestra página web calrecycle.ca.gov. Si asiste a esta junta en persona en el auditorio Byron Scher, tenemos dispositivos de traducción al español disponibles. Solo informe a nuestro equipo al lado izquierdo del mostrador de presentación si necesita uno.
We will briefly pause after each agenda item to give our live Spanish language interpreter time to relay information. Your public comments are important to us, and we will accept them throughout the meeting on Zoom and by phone. You can find the Zoom link and call-in instructions on CalRecycle's monthly public meeting webpage. Today, that is linked from the top of the homepage. Please raise your hand in Zoom or call in now if you have comments on these upcoming items: plastic pollution prevention and textile stewardship updates, biomass reporting, grants and loans, or tire-derived product research. Now to our first agenda item, the director's report. CalRecycle Director Zoe Heller is here with updates. Good morning, Zoe.
Maria, and good morning, everybody. Great to see so many people in the room and on the Zoom today. Got a couple updates to share that our team will be getting in more details on. The first is that we are in the middle right now of the formal rulemaking, first 45-day comment period for the plastic pollution reduction law. I still have to look at the name of it to make sure I get it right, which is wild. So Michelle will be providing more details on where we are in the process, when our hearing is, and other updates on SB 54 that you may be interested in. Another update that will be given today is on our battery embedded product program. We have an update on the proposed recycling fee for the newly added products to that program. And the last update I wanted to provide is that many of you may have seen on our listserv yesterday that we are going to be having a workshop on our zero waste plan coming up on October 2nd. That'll be here in Byron Scher. We'll be getting out some materials about a week prior to that meeting, so those will go through the listserv as well, and we hope you can join us for that. So with that, I will turn it back to Maria to get us started, or to Michelle.
I can turn over to Michelle. It'll be really exciting. So now the Division of Circular Economy Deputy Director Michelle Martin is here with the latest on the plastic pollution prevention law regulations. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, everybody. As Zoe mentioned, CalRecycle initiated the formal rulemaking process on August 22nd, initiating a 45-day public comment period that ends October 7th. Our rulemaking webpage has more information. Concurrent with the rulemaking process, CalRecycle prepared a partially recirculated draft program environmental impact report as required by the California Environmental Quality Act. The 45-day public comment period for that goes from August 26th through October 10th. On September 2nd, CalRecycle published an update to the covered material categories list. This does not include an update to the determinations of recyclability or compostability. CalRecycle will update those determinations by January 1st, 2026, as required by the law. CalRecycle also published 2 producer reporting guidance documents to support implementation. You can find those on the Plastic Pollution Prevention Act webpage. And as always, you can check out the advisory board webpage for meeting updates. The next one is this Friday, September 19th in the Sierra Hearing Room. And thanks to everyone who attended our Responsible Textile Recovery Act workshop on September 9th, which focused on the Producer Responsibility Organization solicitation, application, and submission process. The solicitation letter and application form are posted on our Textile PRO application website. A copy of the workshop presentation is linked in today's agenda. Applications and supporting documents must be emailed to textiles@calrecycle.ca.gov no later than 11:59 p.m. on January 1st, 2026. CalRecycle will review all applications submitted by the due date and approve 1 PRO by March 1st, 2026. You can subscribe to our textile stewardship email list for updates. Back to you, Maria. Thanks.
Thanks, Michelle. Now we're turning to biomass reporting. Lawmakers passed SB 498 in 2014. The law requires annual reporting on the amounts, types, and sources of biomass materials. Environmental Program Manager and Acting Policy Director Dan Brown joins us with a brief overview. Good morning, Dan.
Morning, Maria, and thank you, everybody. All right, so facilities started reporting this information to the department in 2015. These facilities turn materials like wood waste and nutshells into electricity. California currently has 22 active biomass conversion facilities. In the 80s, there were more than 50 in the state. This decline is due in part to cheaper sources of energy like natural gas and solar. Oh, I'm sorry, next slide as well. The cheap cost of landfilling as an alternative to biomass, and finally, fluctuations in subsidies to these facilities. Slide, please. Facilities report on material accepted from 4 source categories. In 2024, facilities reported more than 1 million tons from agriculture, over 800,000 tons from in-forestry, over 800,000 tons from mill residue, and over 300,000 tons from urban sources. Next slide, please. From 2023 to 2024, the amount accepted by biomass facilities decreased by about 200,000 tons, or 11%. Specifically, agriculture increased by 30%, in-forestry decreased by 12%, mill residue decreased by 4%, and urban decreased by 48%. Next slide, please. Since 2015, the amount accepted by biomass facilities decreased by about 1 million tons, or 33%. Specifically, agriculture has decreased by 19%, in-forestry has increased by 48%, mill residue has decreased by 35%, and urban has declined by 80%. Next slide, please. Anyway, if you have any questions about the biomass reporting, please contact us. I think there's one missing slide there, but I can get the contact information. We have a biomass email at biomass@calrecycle.ca.gov, and you're welcome to chat with us if you have any questions. Thank you. And back to you, Maria.
Thank you, Dan. Now, a quick reminder, the next SB 1383 Chat with CalRecycle is tomorrow from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. The focus is on sustainable funding for food recovery organizations and services. Find the registration information on the public notice linked to CalRecycle's events calendar on our homepage. Now we'll go back to Deputy Director Michelle Martin to discuss grants and loans.
Maria, we have a grant award announcement, but first let's welcome Scott Beckner, the Environmental Program Manager, and he has a few loan criteria updates.
There we go. Thank you. Maria with the save there. So excited to have 3 items today to talk about. Let's start with the Beverage Container Recycling Loan Program, which is funded through the Beverage Container Recycling Fund. Budget Act of 2022 allocated $30 million for low-interest loans to expand certified beverage container processing capacity in California. The current criteria approved last year, among other things, limits eligibility to brand new certified processing facilities that process plastic or glass. With this revised criteria I'm presenting today, we will be changing this to include those expanding capacity at existing certified processors, and eligible projects will include those that process all CRV beverage container types. As last time, preference is given to projects that benefit underserved areas and support California's circular economy goals. California private businesses, nonprofits, and local governments are eligible for awards for loans ranging from $500,000 to $10 million, with interest rates generally around 4% based on financial review and underwriting. Next slide. Next up is a new loan program specifically targeting tire recycling. CalRecycle's proposed tire equipment loan program provides low-interest loans to support tire recycling and reuse in California. This year's 5-year tire plan allocated $1 million annually to support equipment purchases for tire-derived product manufacturing, feedstock processing, or reuse activities such as retreading. Preference is given for projects that advance California's circular economy manufacturing goals, manufacture long-lasting or recyclable products, and create jobs and community benefits, and of course, result in finished products made in California. California private businesses, nonprofits, and local governments are eligible for awards of up to $1 million. I keep saying awards, but it's loans up to $1 million. Got to pay that back. With interest rates generally around 4% based on financial review. We're seeking public comment on both of these items. Please submit comments to bzassist@calrecycle.ca.gov. That's BZASSIST. It's on the slide, as well as the public item. Comments are due September 26th. To find out more information on both of these items, please see the links in today's agenda or contact CalRecycle's business assistance team at the email on the slide. Next up, before we get to the latest tire-derived aggregate grant award, let's take a look at this short video on California's progress in keeping waste tires out of the environment.
Up until a few decades ago, piles of illegally dumped tires polluted our state, sometimes catching fire, burning deep inside the pile. In 1998, an employee clearing weeds at a property illegally storing about 7 million tires in San Joaquin County sparked one of the largest tire fires in our nation's history. Large plumes of toxic black smoke from the Tracy tire fire released dangerous chemicals like cyanide and carbon monoxide while it burned for more than 2 years.
It was really a wake-up call to California that something had to be done.
California strengthened its decade-old Tire Recycling Act in 2000 to put waste tires to better use.
Our role is to find new ways to recycle tires to prevent them being illegally dumped or tossed into landfills.
California now tracks the storage and movement of used tires and supports recycling and market development to encourage the use of products made from recycled tires. CalRecycle's Tire Incentive Program provides financial incentives to eligible manufacturers that make new products from old tires.
2 of the products that my team promotes include rubberized asphalt concrete, rag, and tire-derived aggregate TDA.
TDA, used as vibration mitigation under light rail, has saved the state millions of dollars while it absorbs sound and allows for a smoother ride through neighborhoods.
With TDA, you are actually solving engineering problems.
Rubberized asphalt concrete blends recycled tires and asphalt to create a more cost-effective, durable, and environmentally friendly alternative to traditional paving materials. Other tire-derived products use ground-up recycled tires mixed with other materials to create products like flooring, roofing, traffic control devices, and pathways.
In a lot of ways, waste tire products can outperform conventional material, and also it could save money.
More than 24 million tires still buried in landfills every year.
That means our work is not completed yet.
All right, great video. Since 2014, TDA grant projects have kept over 5 million tires from being littered or landfilled. This program promotes markets for California tire-derived products in civil engineering projects. Today, we're announcing nearly $250,000 tire-derived aggregate grant to OC Waste and Recycling, Orange County. The project helps fund new landfill gas collection wells at a landfill in Brea using TDA. Project information is linked in the agenda. And back to you, Maria.
Thank you, Scott. Next on the agenda, scope of work has been approved to evaluate the use of crumb rubber as a partial cement replacement. The contract will also help determine the amount and size of crumb rubber for performance, functionality, and sustainability. The contract can't exceed $375,000, and San Jose State University will perform the work. And now we are going to turn to public comments. Do we have any public comments in the room on the items we just discussed? Good morning.
Evan Edgar live from Cal EPA. Thank you. I'm here on behalf of the California Compost Coalition, and I was back in 2014. We were co-sponsors for SB 498, and what resulted in the annual tonnage reports being put out today. But SB 498 was more important than that. It actually defined non-conversion thermal conversion technologies using gasification. So that is a really important definition, because the whole gasification definition was screwed up in California, so we made a definition so that we can do this. We coupled with the biomat program. What was supposed to happen back in 2014, we're supposed to pivot towards more of these biomass conversion facilities using gasification instead of the old technologies Dan was talking about, is, back in the 80s, fluidized bed, incineration with ash. So those days are over. That's old biomass, and we're new biomass trying to get the biomat program going with SB 498, which does not require a CalRecycle permit, which is very important. I've developed over about 25 megawatts statewide for the urban and the forest sector to have these SB 498 facilities. None are hooked up today. I've been on it for 10 years, and part of it because of PG&E refuses to interconnect us. So that's pretty sad. But 10 years later here, I don't have any facilities up and running, and the biomat program, which is good for 250 megawatt of power, urban would have got 13 cents a kilowatt hour, agriculture 18, and forest 19 cents. That program is going to end. The PUC is going to kill it by the end of the year if we don't do something. We try to sponsor a bill to save the biomat program, and it still just is in limbo. So one of the good outlets for biomass that we were banking on between SB 498 and biomat is going to terminate at the end of the year. That's an important thing because that's an important market. But I've been up here for 9 years. I can give my standard speech about what to get in and ground, Groundhog Day for ground wood, and I will, because I've been up here for 9 years. What happened about 8 years ago, PG&E started doing contracts that allowed agriculture to have 80% of the take, and it crowded urban waste out. So at the time, RRCC, Veronica, hired Edgar Associates to analyze that. And we predicted that we predicted that the industry, the urban sector, was going to lose 1.2 million tons over 7 years. So that's why I've been up here every year trying to say we're losing tons. We can't even pay for the haul distance to go to the biomass plant. But what the numbers show, if you actually bring that slide back up, Dan, with the urban sector, we lost 1.4 million tons over 9 years. So, it's worse than we thought. We knew it was going to be bad. So the urban sector is hurting to get rid of urban wood waste. And for the last 9 years, I've been asking CalRecycle to develop a wood waste market development plan. The last one he did was 1995. So I've been trying to get you guys to focus on that. Wood waste is the number 2 waste being disposed of in California after food waste. So it's the number 2 animal, and nobody's really looking at it. And I've been up here 9 years trying to have you guys shine some light on it. California Compost Coalition sponsored 3 legislation. For 3 years, we try to coordinate the forest, ag, and urban sector into some type of harmonization of policies. Dan had a slide saying different incentives. You know, forest has a lot of incentives. Ag is being phased out in the Central Valley with the San Joaquin Valley APCD. We have a lot of bans, a lot of incentives, and biomat, and it was never harmonized. So we sponsored bills 3 years in a row to somehow get the state to look at that. In the past, they did a bioenergy action plan in 2012 with existing staff and resource agency that did that. That was 2012. We haven't had a coordinated approach since then. Each year the bill was killed in appropriations because of staffing or expenses to send appropriations. That it was never done. So we kind of gave up 3 strikes and I'm out. So we can't get legislation done. So the industry's hurting on these tons. We lost, we saw the biggest drop that was pretty bad, 80%, Dan said we lost. And we can't find other markets. So we're kind of bank on SB 1383 procurement. I got some numbers yesterday from 2021 to 2023. And over the last 3 years, from 2023 to up to 2023, about 110 tons per year of bioenergy happened, which is 110,000. That's pretty good. But once again, we lost 1.4 million tons of capacity. At the same time, 1383 says we got to divert a new 3 million tons. So you got 3 million tons come on the market. We lost 1.5 million tons on bioenergy. So we got a little bit back with bioenergy 1383 procurement. On mulch, we've been averaging 180,000 tons a year of mulch over this time period. Ain't much, but it's something. I'm looking for the 2024 numbers to be posted up soon. Caltrans should be doing more, but they don't. There's fluff reports and lip service about what Caltrans may do. Can't get their tonnages about their mulch, you know, and if it is, it's pretty low. And then working with 1383, the public works sector, the silos, it's pretty tough to work with mulch with county government. I'm a county engineer for 10 years, and I, try to use mulch for erosion control, but it's kind of tough. So it's a good thing that we have that direct service provider agreement. We can broker compost out to agriculture. That's 48% of the market. That's good, but not much for mulch. And you can't compost the world. We have CN limitations, carbon nitrogen limitations on wood waste. You just can't compost everything, especially wood waste. So the last 2 years, I've been up here trying to work the zero waste plan. I thought that could be the opportunity. Since we didn't have a wood waste market development plan, we have no bioenergy plan for the last couple of decades. I thought maybe this would be a chance, an opportunity to discuss it. So I presented market development plans. You see me at newsletters, conventions, workshops, conferences. And the biomass market development plan I presented, I shared with staff for the last 2 years, and I try to share at the zero waste workshops, is that 1.3 million tons of biomass should be going to hydrogen. 650,000 tons per year of new could be compost feedstocks to mix with the food waste and biosolids. 500,000 tons per year for 1383 procurement. We're at 280,000 now. I have about 250,000 tons for SB 498 facilities, but the opposite is happening. Another 200,000 tons a year for biomat program, which is being canceled out. So the market development plan I've been promoting isn't working either. The only big opportunity we have is mostly biomass to hydrogen. I was a technical advisor for the Green Hydrogen Council, and we prepared a report, biomass to hydrogen, about moving 1 million tons of biomass in the LA Basin to make hydrogen, where they have zero emission vehicles, make hydrogen fuel cells for the transit fleet. Big opportunity, and that's been posted all year long. I've been trying to share that with zero waste staff, that this is an opportunity to move biomass to hydrogen. Today, the city of LA released the RFP for Recycle LA. It's going to be a 10-year contract worth about $5 billion, and a lot of the commercial waste and wood waste. It would have been nice to kind of promote the Green Hydrogen Council's technical document about how to move biomass to hydrogen. It lays it out quite well. I've been at workshops, conferences twice this year, so a great opportunity to look at that. I tried to present it to Accenture at the last couple of workshops. They have a $2 million contract to do something. Only time I see Accenture is that NFL halftime report. I haven't seen them for 2 years. I have information to provide. I'm a technical expert for the industry on wood waste. Zero input on zero waste on wood waste. I'll be here on October 2nd doing this again. But my understanding that there is no hydrogen in the biomass report. The most critical thing you can do with zero waste is biomass to hydrogen. And hopefully this be part of the zero waste report. And hopefully Accenture is listening and I can share data with them at any time. It's public information, it's posted up, and I will do this again October 2nd. So what will happen with urban biomass? And seeing that we lost 1.4 million tons, we got 3 million tons come on the market. So bioenergy is dying, but should be thriving. Biomass is dying and dead, so we're losing that opportunity. 1383 procurement and Caltrans, okay, we got something going on there, not much. No hydrogen would be a killer. Compost has a CN limitations for wood waste. We can't compost everything. Do we go back to ADC? Back to the future? Or do we just go back to the landfill? These are serious questions been asked for 9 years. I got really zero input, no feedback. I get the same report by Dan every year. I give the same speech every year. It's Groundhog Day for ground wood. Hopefully we can do something October 2nd.
Devin, appreciate your input.
Hi, good morning. Veronica Pardo. I'm the Executive Director of the Resource Recovery Coalition. And thank you. Evan said a lot, so I don't want to repeat too much other than I did want to say thank you for the biomass report. It is, I think we can see based on the tonnage, certainly in the urban environment and in all the various sectors. But as I'm here standing today, focusing on those that are hauling and managing and dealing with SB 1383 material in their local jurisdictions and communities as service providers. So obviously we have a problem, and I think it is prudent to bring to the attention of CalRecycle that, as Evan said, the biomat program is currently set to expire at the end of this year, and there's some question about that. And I'm kind of here to ask CalRecycle, what can we do to help support CalRecycle in those conversations with the PUC and the Energy Commission to kind of figure out what's going on here and what's the holdup, because we can see very clearly that we do have an issue, and there are various opportunities that we've heard today around hydrogen development and others, and obviously the greater expansion of our 1383 management facilities. But at the end of the day, we're all kind of trying to achieve the same solution here and goal, right, which is to divert these materials out of the landfill, where if they remain, they're creating methane, a short-lived climate pollutant. So really appreciate the opportunity to provide these comments today and look forward to how we can better collaborate to be a part of those discussions with the other agencies. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments in the room? Okay, do we have any calls or Zoom comments? Okay, looks like we have none. So looking ahead, please raise your hand in Zoom or call in now if you have comments on the upcoming items, which we will take comments for after we've addressed them. Embedded battery waste recycling fee, beverage container recycling program, product stewardship updates, a 5-year review report, or facility permit updates. So next on the agenda, we have updates on our covered electronic waste program from Branch Chief Martine Boswell. Good morning, Martine.
Good morning, Maria. And I'm just doing a quick volume check. Is this okay in the room, this volume level?
Yes, I think it's as good as we're going to get, Martine. It's still pretty loud, but I think we've addressed it technically, and just if you can speak a little bit quietly, that would be great.
Okay, will do. And I am very sorry I couldn't be there with you all in person today. I'm out sick, so please forgive me if I am using a tissue throughout this. The Electronic Waste Recycling Act of 2003 requires CalRecycle to establish a covered battery embedded waste recycling fee by October 1st, 2025, based on the reasonable regulatory costs to administer covered electronic waste recycling. Staff requests Director Heller's approval to establish the covered battery embedded waste recycling fee as follows. On or after January 1st, 2026, 1.5% of the retail sales price for each covered battery embedded product sold for use in this state by a retailer. The covered battery embedded waste recycling fee shall not exceed $15. Retail sales price shall have the same meaning as sales price set forth in section 6011 of the Revenue and Taxation Code. Since the SB 1215 emergency rulemaking workshop that was held on May 28th, 2025, CalRecycle made an update to the proposed fee by setting a cap of $15. By establishing this cap, any covered battery embedded product that has a retail sales price equal to or greater than $1,000 shall have a covered battery embedded waste recycling fee of $15. For additional information, please see the request for approval to establish the proposed covered battery embedded waste recycling fee posted on the public notice associated with this monthly public meeting agenda item. CalRecycle will file the rulemaking package with the Office of Administrative Law in fall 2025. Interested parties may comment on the rulemaking package when the emergency regulations are filed at the Office of Administrative Law. That comment period will be 5 days long. CalRecycle will send a notice out on the e-waste listserv prior to the 5-day comment period beginning. And thank you all. Back to you, Maria.
Thank you, Martine. We hope you get some rest and feel better soon.
Thank you.
The Beverage Container Recycling Program Deputy Director Amy Cameron joins us now with a quick announcement. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning, Maria. Good morning, everybody. This on? A quick reminder, CalRecycle published its second quarter beverage container recycling program certification registration report, as well as our compliance and enforcement report. They're both linked to today's agenda and available on our website. Back to you, Maria.
Exciting. Thank you, Amy. And so now we're going to go back to our Deputy Director of the Division of Circular Economy, Michelle Martin, with product stewardship updates.
Now I'd like to welcome Product Stewardship Branch Chief Karen Kafitz for our next agenda items regarding beverage container dealer cooperatives, paint, carpet, and sharps and pharmaceutical programs.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, starting with beverage containers. On September 1st, Circular CRV Association notified CalRecycle of changes to its approved stewardship plan, which do not require CalRecycle approval. Key changes include updates to the list of dealer members, unserved convenience zones where the dealer cooperative will provide redemption, redemption sites, and redemption contractors. Up next, California's paint stewardship law requires the stewardship organization Paint Care to reimburse CalRecycle each quarter for the department's full administrative and enforcement costs. CalRecycle's director must approve the annual administrative fee at a public meeting by September 30th of each year. The administrative fee for July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025 was $615,941.46, which represented about 1.5% of Paint Care's annual program expenses in 2024. You can find more information on this fee linked in today's agenda. On September 1st, CalRecycle received Carpet America Recovery Efforts 2024 Annual Report, which is also linked in today's agenda. CalRecycle is currently reviewing the report to determine if it meets requirements of statute, regulations, and CARE's stewardship plan. We are accepting public comments through Friday. The director's determination will be posted on CalRecycle's website, shared on the Carpet email list, and presented at a future monthly public meeting. Next. Oh, we don't have a slide on this one, so I'll just say, Department decisions on significant changes to the Drug Take-Back Solutions Foundation's home-generated sharps waste and covered drug stewardship plans have been posted online and are also linked in today's agenda. Thanks, and back to you, Maria.
Karen. Okay, next, the next topic is the Del Norte Solid Waste Management Authority, which submitted a 5-year review report for its regional agency integrated waste management plan. This report analyzes planning documents that could be affected by changes in population, waste capacity, funding, and diversion programs. No changes are needed at this time. The plan has been approved. So now let's watch a quick solid waste permit and waivers program explainer, followed by September 2025 updates from Program Manager Paulina Lawrence.
To keep Californians healthy and protect our land, food, water, and air, CalRecycle and local enforcement agencies work together. Local enforcement agencies get community input, process permit applications, conduct inspections, and make sure solid waste facilities follow the law. CalRecycle verifies that permits for solid waste facilities, including landfills and compost sites, comply with state standards and inspections. Agreeing with the LEA that a permit is ready to be issued is known as concurring. Additionally, CalRecycle reviews approved emergency waivers and can modify, limit, or end them. Emergency waivers temporarily modify solid waste facility permits for up to 120 days and may be extended, providing relief for facility operators during disasters, and they're approved by local enforcement agencies. For waste tire facilities, CalRecycle issues and enforces waste tire facility permits to make sure tires are stored and processed safely. Scan this QR code or visit CalRecycle's website for more detailed information.
From the last month's monthly meeting, the department has concurred or issued on for Calaveras County. CalRecycle has found that the proposed permit meets all the state requirements and concurs or agrees with the Calaveras Local Enforcement Agency on August 19, 2025, a new solid waste facilities permit for Cal Waste Double Springs Road Transfer Station. CalRecycle must have made a decision for this permit action by August 31st, 2025. For San Diego County, CalRecycle has found that the proposed permit meets all the state requirements and concurs or agrees with the San Diego County Local Enforcement Agency on August 26, 2025, a new solid waste facilities permit for Otay Material Recovery Facility. CalRecycle must have made a decision for this permit by September 13, 2025. Continuing on this month's agenda, for Solano County, Echo Cycle Ventures, Inc. This is a new minor waste tire facility permit. CalRecycle must make a decision for this permit action by October 6, 2025. For the City of San Diego, Sycamore Landfill. This is a revised solid waste facilities permit. CalRecycle must make a decision for this permit action item by October 24th, 2025. For Solano County, Recology Vallejo. This is a revised solid waste facilities permit. Action is needed October 22nd, 2025. For San Luis Obispo County, Chicago Grade Landfill. This particular solid waste facilities permit action item, it has CalRecycle as the enforcement agency. This will be a modified solid waste facilities permit. CalRecycle must make a decision on this permit action by November 6th, 2025. New to this month's agenda, for Tulare County, Tulare County Compost Facility. This is a new compostable materials handling facility permit. Action is needed by November 1st, 2025. Preliminary review of the permit package indicates the following proposed design parameters. The proposed facility will be a compostable materials handling facility mixed that will receive compostable materials. Hours of operations will be 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday to Friday and 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday for receipt of material, and then maintenance and then 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for operating and processing. Permitted maximum tonnage will be 1,000 tons per day. The permitted traffic volume will be 155 vehicles per day. The total and composting permitted area of 36 acres and composting design capacity of 200,000 cubic yards. San Mateo County, Shoreway Environmental Center. This is a revised solid waste facilities permit. CalRecycle must make a decision on this permit action by October 26, 2025. Preliminary review of the permit package indicates the following proposed changes. An increase to the permitted hours of operation for the transfer station and materials recovery facility from 2 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday to 24 hours of operation, 7 days a week. Removal of the operating hours for the public recycling center. Splitting permit condition 17J into two separate conditions, 17J and 17K, to align with Title 14 more accurately with regards to the removal frequency for organic waste and inert materials. Corrects the unit of measure for maximum design capacity from 3,000 cubic yards to 3,000 tons. Updates the owner mailing address and updates to the transfer processing report.
Okay, so that is it. We will take public comments now. Are there any more comments in the room today? Good morning.
Sorry, I've done this before. Hi, good morning. Nick Lapis with Californians Against Waste. Is that better? Still not better? It's on.
Test, test. One, two.
Good morning, Nick Lapis with Californians Against Waste. I have a question about the e-waste fee. So I see you're doing a second rulemaking on 1215 implementation to cap the fee at $15. I think I understand the background for that. The payments are still per pound and include the really big things that we are worried about potentially here. How does that work? If you understand my question, if not,
How does what work?
okay, I'll be more explicit. So cars were kind of the thing that kept coming up, right? Where cars are technically a battery embedded product. 1.5% of the cost of a car is a very high amount. I assume that that was probably what led to this change. If a auto dismantler registers as an e-waste recycler, they're still going to get paid per pound, right? And the entire vehicle is the battery embedded product. How does all that fit together?
I see what you're asking now. And, we received a number of public comments on the 1.5%. I think it was 2 months ago at the monthly public meeting. Some watch manufacturers were concerned. So that's, you'll see in the RFA, there was a lot of analysis that was done by staff to determine that, the 1.5% made sense as far as a cap to cover ultimately the payments, what we would have to have in the e-waste program. There's still rulemaking happening and analysis to better understand the full scope of the program. To date, we're still having conversations to make sure that we're going to have the right amount of money in the fund. I'm not sure if Martine is still on, but we do have authority in the next, I think it's next year, to develop more of a differential fee if that's what we choose to do to be more appropriate to match the fee to the products specifically. I believe our authority this year only allowed us to put out, what a fee. So if you're looking at 1.5% of some of these more expensive products, that could lead to the e-waste fund, ballooning to a place that we don't know if we'd be able to spend it. So that was part of our analysis. So we're taking all of this under consideration. We understand the concern that you're bringing, and I don't have direct answers for that now, but more to come.
Thank you.
Hi again, Veronica Pardo, RRCC. I actually also had a question regarding e-recycling. We've been having some conversations with some of our associate members that do e-recycling, and I know that are in the emergency rulemaking, I believe, for 1215, but this is regarding the fee, right? But the question that I have is, do we have a list yet of which products would be covered for that fee that's being proposed? And that's a question that I've been getting. And I think for the recyclers, they're trying to really understand the scope of what they will be recycling. And I think it may also help with Nick's question about with the vehicles and whatnot as well. But I don't know if you have an answer for that.
Yeah, Veronica, thank you for that question. And, we have various e-waste rulemakings in process right now. I'm not recalling exactly where we are on the broader e-waste rulemaking. I'm sorry, the battery embedded product rulemaking. Martine, are you still on?
Oh, I am, Zoe, yes.
Can you give a quick overview of the various rulemakings and where we are in process on them?
Sure, absolutely. Because of the different statutory deadlines in the SB 1215 statute, we have multiple SB 1215 rulemakings that we've engaged in last year and also this year. The two separate SB 1215 rulemakings this year is the one that we're discussing at hand, the rulemaking to adopt the covered battery embedded waste recycling fee, and then also a separate rulemaking that includes many different requirements necessary to further implement the SB 1215 statute, such as including definitions to further clarify what a covered battery embedded product is, also specifying the payment claim requirements that include covered battery embedded waste. With regard to posting or providing a list of covered battery embedded products or all products in California that meet the statutory definition of covered battery embedded product, CalRecycle is currently receiving the notices that manufacturers are required to send to retailers selling covered battery embedded products in California. Those notices are required to specify the covered battery embedded products that are being sold. So we are going through all of those, and we do intend on posting that information online in the coming weeks. That's a priority for us, but it is important to note that the statutory definition of covered battery embedded product is extremely vast. And there is no requirement at this time for manufacturers to send a copy of their notices that they sent to retailers by a certain date. We are addressing that in one of the SB 1215 rulemakings that we're engaged in now. But because there's no specific date currently that the manufacturers need to send copies of those notices, we are receiving them on a rolling basis. And so it's very difficult to put together a comprehensive list when we haven't received all of the notices. So while I can tell you we're doing everything we can to get that information available online, it's not going to be comprehensive given the vast scope of SB 1215 and the products that could meet that the requirements and be subject to the law.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you so
Martine.
much.
Yeah, and I'll just add, and this is pretty much what Martine said, but just to put a
Mhm.
finer point on it, is that CalRecycle won't be determining which products are in and which products are out. And that was really the intent of the regulations, is to put forth criteria of, what is a battery embedded product. The 1215 team's been working closely with the 2440 team for loose batteries to help make that distinction as far as, the common household tools that can be used to potentially remove a battery. So it's self-reporting at this time. And ultimately, that's the list that you'll see on our website. It won't be determined by CalRecycle.
Thank you. Yeah, and it does sound like, based on, the differential comment, that there might be some tweaks and adjustments that might be needed to make this program successful ultimately. And I'll make a comment that the e-recyclers ultimately, we're talking about the scope, that those are very large and the very small. And I think that, it can take a lot of labor potentially to extract an embedded battery from even a very small product. And how are we going to make those adjustments so that the program can ultimately be successful and get those batteries out, which on our side for the haulers and recyclers are, getting into the waste stream and causing fires in the facilities and are, fire hazards for everyone. So just wanted to make those comments. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
If there are no other comments in the room, then are there any on Zoom or any call? Okay.
Yes, we have 2 comments on Zoom. Let's start with Timothy M. I'm going to ask you to unmute. Please state your name, affiliation. Go ahead with your comment.
Yes, hi. Thanks for letting me comment. I'm the executive director of the American Watch Association and was at the initial meeting you guys had on the covered battery embedded product recycling and the fee. We submitted comments. The American Watch Association submitted comments back on July 7, and based on some of the comments just made, you may have already, frankly, addressed some of the questions I had. But just to be clear, the rulemaking, the the fee is set. Well, I guess the statute requires CalRecycle to set the fee by October 1. But if I understand the rulemaking process, it sounds like it'll then go to the Office of Administrative Law, and they'll have until like the end of the year to approve. Is that the way it works?
Timothy, thanks for your comment. And because this is an emergency rulemaking, it does move faster. Is it 30 days? 10 days. Yeah. So once we submit to OAL, they have 10 days to act.
And within those 10 days, I heard that comments were to be submitted within 5 days. Is that right?
Correct. 5 days.
I see. Okay. So it's a pretty abbreviated process, obviously. Was just to get our heads around this a little better, because somebody mentioned automobiles. I mean, obviously there's so many different products that fall within this category, and somebody referred to it as vast. I guess it is. Was there any consideration given to treating different battery embedded products differently in terms of the fee? Oh, I mean, how was that thought about?
Yeah, thank you for that question. And for this year, we're not able to do that, but it's certainly something that we'll consider the next time we do fee setting for this program.
Right. Okay, that's good to know. And the other, I only have 2 other quick sort of questions. Setting the fee as a percentage of sales price. I mean, you could do it any number of ways, I guess. Why sales price?
Yeah, I think there's some information on that in the RFA. But in looking at how to implement this, because the fee is assessed at the point of retail, at retail sale, that way is more streamlined for them to be able to implement. And we can still, identify ultimately the range in which that would result in based on the product, especially with capping it at the $15. So we can do an analysis to get a sense of how much we think would be coming in to make sure that we have enough in the fund to be able to pay the collectors and the recyclers for their work in managing those materials.
Right. But I mean, it's similarly though for other electronic devices where the fee is based on screen size. I think that for some of if I remember, some of those fees ranged from $4 to $5 or $6 based on screen size. I mean, that's obviously based on product characteristic and not sale price, right? So why is this sort of treated differently than that?
Looking at our legal team is sitting right in front of me, and they're providing me with some real-time updates to respond to your questions. Very, very different programs. When 1215 was introduced, it expanded the universe as you quoted, and I'll quote again, vastly. So I think when we look at the covered electronic waste program, in the initial scope, it was a much more defined set of products. When we're talking about the battery embedded program, the scope just expands. As you know, wildly. You have everything from your battery embedded greeting card to your watch to your, there's so many different products that fall within. So ultimately, we were looking at a way in which we could assess all of these products and get to, once again, a fee that made sense to grow our fund to be able to have the right amount for payments.
Mm-hmm. And the cap, I assume, was set with the same sort of rationale in mind. It's namely arriving at the dollar amount you felt necessary to administer the program.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate your engagement.
Next, we have the Federation of the Swiss Watch Industry. I'm going to go ahead and ask you to unmute.
Yes, thank you. I am Carol Aubert from the Federation of the Swiss Watch Industry. First, I would like to enhance that we really appreciate that you go in the directions, and we appreciate the effort to improve the predictability through the cap fee. I guess that our team Michno has already discuss about the main issue we have, because for watches, so the product itself is not discarded when the battery is not working anymore, because the product will be brought back to the retailer, and the retailer will professionally change the battery. So that means that we just speak about a small battery, button cell battery, which should be changed, which is typically a silver oxide, which is less damageable for environment, as we could have a lithium battery for larger device. So for us, it's really strike us that we have a single rule for the vast range of product, and product which in vast majority will be discarded, including the battery. And here we have only the small battery which has to be recycled, and the recycle will be performed directly by the retailer in any case when the customer goes back, because the watches will never be discarded, because you will keep the watches for years, and even decades. So for us, it's really to understand how the cap has been set, and if we could contemplate a lower cap, for instance, to really understand, because we consider that very expensive products should not finance products which will be discarded completely, including the battery, because we have this feeling that perhaps we will finance other products which are far more damageable for environment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other calls on the phone? Okay, it looks like Californians Against Waste has another comment.
Hi, Nick Lapis again with Californians Against Waste. There seems to be a misunderstanding that I've heard in every other comment and a lot of side conversations about this program. Everyone seems to be talking about the cost of recycling the battery. Whether or not a product has a battery is what triggers whether it's in the program. The cost is the cost of recycling the entire product. It's the product that is subject to the e-waste program, and the battery is the trigger. Just like previously, the screen was the trigger, but it was the cost of recycling the entire product. Given that no one seems to be seeing that distinction, it might be helpful to put out some better guidance, or at least some FAQs on that. I mean, I've had maybe a dozen conversations the past 2 weeks where that was definitely not clear in people's minds.
Nick, appreciate you mentioning that, and we're certainly interested in getting out some FAQs on the program. So thank you.
Okay, it looks like that's all the comments that we have. And if there are no more in the room, we will move forward. So you can find the September 2025 monthly public meeting recording in English and in Spanish on CalRecycle's YouTube channel as soon as possible. We would love if you would follow our social media and GovDelivery email lists to get more CalRecycle program updates. Oh, do we have another comment? I will pause and we will go back to Mr. Edgar.
Evan Edgar, California Compost Coalition. I'm the engineer. CalRecycle released a great report on September 2025. It wasn't an agenda item, but it should be because it's the top three science and report that CalRecycle needs to do. And it's called the Compost Soil Amendment Impacts on Greenhouse Gases, which is a very very good topic today. Because we have been supporting your final land application regulations about land applying, Title 14 compost and not allowing mulches out there. So the final regs are up, and we've been highly supportive of that. Because of the desert dumping in the desert, people are just taking piles of C&D waste, wood waste, because we have no other markets for wood waste. So all the C&D, wood waste, green waste, mulch, non-Title 14 compost is going out to the desert without any type of real protocol and on non-productive ag land, and people think they're doing something, and it's totally wrong. So totally support your good work on having the final regulations on land application to stop that abuse. It's like the new ADC. We had ADC abuse last decade, and now land application is filling a market void since we don't have markets for wood waste much anymore, and there's not enough enforcement for land application, so it's a good thing. This report is really good because it's really focused on N2O. If somehow you put down Title 14 compost in wet weather, okay, you may have some N2O emissions, which is a greenhouse gas. And if you have some vermicomposting, it's more have higher releases N2O. So that's a good study, and a lot of research went into it. But the title is kind of misleading. It says Compost Soil Amendment Impacts on Greenhouse Gases. We know that N2O is not a big problem. What's missing from this equation is the potential to sequester carbon. I do a lot of work at CARB, and as part of the last scoping plan, they had a natural working lands. They have different agenda items at CARB talking about nature-based carbon farming, high integrity carbon credits, and it's been part of the cap and trade discussion as well, moving up the offsets from 4% to 6%, having more protocols, and hopefully Title 14 compost to agriculture and rangelands will eventually get its day, an understanding. That's the type of more research we need to piggyback on this, because here it only talks about the bad impacts that are minimal with N2O, but what about the good impacts of all the different carbon farming and all the science there that's being developed? With me today is Bill Camarillo from Agrimin, and Bill came up today because we have a big contract with the city of Sacramento coming up to do carbon farming in this county. It's be high integrity, nature-based compost credits using organic compost on rangelands for ecological restoration with pollinators. With that, I'd like to turn over to Bill Camarillo.
Good morning, everybody. Let you get out of here pretty quick. My first time at the mic here at CalRecycle, so thank you very much for having me under this final public comment. So I did want to follow up what Evan was talking about with the recent study, which I appreciated also. We want to know that there isn't any negative impact significant on what we're trying to accomplish, which is working lands innovation. I was excited to see that Dr. Wendy Silver actually headed up that research, who was very instrumental in the Marin Carbon Project, which my company, we're probably one of the largest composters in the state of California. We now manage over 1.2 million tons of organic waste to compost back to agriculture. And I've spent the last 3.5 years and a whole lot of resources kind of reconciling the Marin Carbon Project. And I always wondered, how could I commercialize that program? It stopped because it didn't have enough funding. So I decided to investigate, could I leverage the voluntary carbon markets? And I'm happy to say today that our project, after 3.5 years, is under validation with Verra, which is the world's largest carbon trading registry in the world. And we are months away from completion of getting our project fully registered to apply compost to rangelands in California and sequester a ton of carbon for every 2 tons of compost. All of that research was done with the Roth-C model, which I noticed they used the Descent model. So they made improvements to the Descent model. We had to pay a lot of money for people to actually utilize the Roth-C model, get it verified with the applications of compost and the frequencies that were used to prove that we could sequester carbon in rangeland. So all the science is there, decade worth or more, and it is doable. And I'm excited with the program. We should start before the end of the year with our project at the Van Vleck Ranch, which is in Sacramento County. And I just think it's apropos that we are doing this in Sacramento County. And in working with the city of Sacramento and the county of Sacramento and many other cities to prove that this innovation was real, it can happen, it can be funded by the private sector. And you have to remember that voluntary carbon markets don't work if there's not additionality and permanence. These projects are 100 years long. We do this for 40 years, and then we have to monitor for 100. So the voluntary market is pursuing this sector because it's in California. And basically, we can sell carbon credits to anyone in the world, any company, any country. And we're doing it right here in California, where we started this whole diversion of organics way back in the early 90s, and then AB 32, and really showing that climate policy can work, and it can work in the financial market sector as well. So a lot of co-benefits. Would love to see more reporting on the water infiltration rates, the reduction in stormwater runoff on rangelands, the water holding capacity in rangelands, the increased yield of grasses for the animals, and more importantly, the massive increase in nutrient value of those grasses to the animals. So healthy soil, healthy plants, healthy animals, healthy people. Keep up the work. Thank you.
Okay, and there's nothing else? All right, so back to the completion. We just want to thank everyone who participated in today's public meeting. We're grateful to those who actively engage with the department, and I want to express gratitude to our staff members and our IT team and everyone who helps make this meeting happen. CalRecycle will see you next month with the latest updates. Have a good month.